What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today, well, we need to talk about secret actions. You see, we've actually been told that there are going to be 8 secret actions coming in Wave 3 of the Transformers trading card game. Although, to be fair, it is War for Cybertron Siege 1. And we know that Wave 4 is going to be War for Cybertron Siege 2, so even if they stop after War for Cybertron, I think it's probably fair to assume we'll get more next time. Anyway, we've only actually seen Battlefield Report up to now. It's the only secret action with which we have been blessed with a view, but no more, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Dampening Field, and that means we got a second one we need to have a little bit of a chat about. So, what does it actually do? Well, it's got a white icon, which is very nice, because if you flip it while attacking or defending and you've not yet flipped a white icon, you get to flip 2 more battle cards. Yay! But way more importantly, it's a secret action. Secret action means you play it on your turn, and if your opponent does the requisite thing on their turn, it gets revealed and does something, but if it doesn't, it gets scrapped at the end of your opponent's turn. Now, the reveal here is exactly the same as the previous one we looked at, when one of your characters defends, and then when it's revealed, your opponent cannot flip more than 4 battle cards during this battle. Nice. This is really nice. Because it just stops your opponent going nuts with bold. Now, unfortunately, it's not going to help you defend, because it is when you are defending, so it's not stopping tough, it is only stopping bold. But this is still stopping bold, and that's still pretty good. Now, one question we do have to ask, and I need to put this into the ruling roundup, because we've not actually, I believe, had it answered definitively, although I'm fairly sure I know the answer. Do you get to choose? So let's say your opponent is sitting there in a Dinobot deck. They're probably going to use bold, more on that in a moment. They might have a Grimlock sitting there. And Grimlock's looking pretty grim for you, if you'll forgive the pun. But then they might also have a Dinobot Swoop, who is frankly not so scary. Can you basically choose? Because if you can't choose and your opponent just attacks with Dinobot Swoop, you end up stopping them flipping, and then they go nuts with Grimlock. And I believe the answer is yes, because I believe the reveal is optional rather than mandatory. So essentially, you know you can reveal it when your opponent flips for attacking, and then you can basically go, no, I'm going to wait for later. I'm going to wait for another one. Problem is, it gets discarded at the end of your opponent's turn, so unless they're attacking multiple times in a turn, it's not really going to be that relevant. But remember that you can sometimes have multiple attacks in a turn, either because all your opponent's characters are tapped and yours aren't, so you attack with all of them until they're all tapped, or because you've played an all-out attack, which I know doesn't really see much play, but you never know, ladies and gentlemen. You never know. I mean, we saw Pop a Wheelie the other day, which gives you an extra attack this turn as long as it's on a motorbike. So the point is that, generally speaking, they have 1 attack per turn. It doesn't matter, but there are several mechanisms through which your opponent can have multiple attacks in a turn, and I believe you would get a choice there. So, frankly, this is just really, really good against decks that are trying to rely on bold. Now, to be fair, we have had a silver bullet answer to bold. It's Acid Storm. And, yeah, as Acid Storm just completely and utterly stops you. Acid Storm just reads your opponent's characters cannot use bold. So if you're looking for the best, bluntest answer, it's Acid Storm. Thing is, Acid Storm is 10 health, 0 defense. So your opponent can just take out Acid Storm, and once Acid Storm's off the field, they can go as bold as they like. Whereas using Dampening Field here, there's nothing your opponent can really do about it. They can't get rid of a secret action. Now, I am willing to bet that it might not be anytime soon, but I'm willing to bet at some point over the years we are going to get some kind of card or skill which lets you get rid of a secret action before your opponent gets a chance to reveal and play it. That seems like a fairly obvious way to go about doing things. I assume that's going to happen at some point. But until it happens, there is no way to get rid of these, so you can basically take advantage of it. Leave it out there. Have some fun. And against some decks, this is going to be pretty devastating. So let's take something like a Dinobot deck. They've got a whole bunch of stuff they can use. They've got Grimlock when it flips into alt mode that gives the character bold free. That's pretty good. They've got Jaws of Steel, a utility that gives bold 2. And then probably Flamethrower, which is a weapon that gives bold 2, both of which have orange icons, which is important. And then, of course, they've got Dino Chomp, which gives bold 5 if they discard their hand. Now, this kind of introduces some mind games here. Because clearly, if your opponent knows that you're playing this, and they see you pop a secret action down, they're not going to play Dino Chomp. They do not want to scrap their hand to give themselves bold 5, only to find out they can only flip 4 cards anyway, and bold 5 is going to do nothing for them. That is not really an option that they have. That is way too risky. But what if it's early in the game and they don't know what secret action you're playing? Or what if you're playing multiple secret actions? What do? Do they not play Dino Chomp because they don't want to discard their hand at the risk of you having a dampening field? Or do they play it and risk it? And if they play it, and you've got a dampening field, ha ha ha. But similarly, if they don't play it and you don't have a dampening field, they are giving up bold 5, which could very well mean they're giving up taking a KO, because you've essentially mind gamed them. And that's one of the things I love about secret actions. As it stands, we've seen dampening field, we've seen battlefield report. There are 6 in wave 3 that have yet to be revealed. Okay. But even amongst the 2 we've got so far, this can be fun. So battlefield report, when you defend, draw 2 cards, put a card from your hand on top of your deck. And sure, that helps you when your opponent doesn't really want to give you draw 2 cards and put a card on top of your deck, but that's not exactly that damaging. So your opponent, if they think you've got a battlefield report, they're going to be like, I'd rather not give you the draw, but it's not the end of the world. Whereas if you've got a dampening field, they are not going to want to play Dino Chomp. That is a waste of an action. They are scrapping their entire hand, and they're getting no benefit from it, so they essentially play a card that reads scrap your hand. You generally don't want that. So what do? And that is what is so good about secret actions. And it's something we really didn't see when all we knew was battlefield report. But I think it is brilliantly illustrated by Dampening Field. I think Dampening Field shows how great this can be. Because your opponent all of a sudden has to make a choice, and if they make the wrong choice, it really hurts them. The other card we've seen, the other character we've seen that loves bold is Metroplex. Now, firstly, Metroplex has got some great options for bold, more on that in a second. But also, Metroplex has got a phenomenal skill, just so long as while attacking you can flip 2 orange, 2 blue and 2 white icons, which you won't always be able to do. So what you really need to do is get him as bold as possible to up your chances of flipping 2 white, 2 orange, 2 blue. And one of the ways Metroplex has got is height advantage. It gets bold 4 to one of your titans. The thing is, this isn't like Dino Chomp. It doesn't give you a huge downside. It's just a wasted card. But can they afford to waste the card? Because if they waste it now, they might not have it in a future turn where they can use a skill, tap your characters and do cheeky damage to them. Or they might not be able to get a KO. They might fall 2 damage short of a KO because they don't have a height advantage in hand that they could have used to get the KO. And remember, you draw a card at the beginning of your turn, and then when you attack, you flip at least 2 cards, and when you defend, you flip at least 2 cards. And I've explained this in a bunch of videos, but unless you're rocking a green icon, think something like Tech Research, whereby you can grab it out of the discard or the scrap pile after attacking or defending, you are generally more likely to flip any card than you are to actually draw it and be able to use it. So you cannot just lightly give this up. So even though there's no huge downside here, this is still a major decision. And I love this. Battlefield Report, it was the first one we'd seen. I thought it was kind of fun. But the worst case scenario was giving your opponent a little bit of extra consistency. Here, you might waste a card you love. You might miss a KO. You might scrap your entire hand. I like this card. And of course, because it's a secret action, don't forget that Major Shockwave can use it as if it was in their hand, if it's on top of their deck. And don't forget that we got the new Captain Wheeljack the other day, whereby when you play your third action of the turn, you get to draw a card. And of course, secret actions totally count here. And finally, we need to give a little bit of love to Sergeant Skywarp. When you play a secret action, draw a card. And when you flip to alt mode, return up to 2 secret actions with different names from your scrap pile to your hand. So remember that thing I told you a minute ago about how it can be really hard to find cards because you might end up scrapping them while attacking or defending? Yeah, Skywarp really mitigates that for secret actions. I think this is a lot of fun, and I think it's way more fun and better than the secret action we've seen previously. Although do remember there are 6 more to be revealed, and you know I will be showing you all of them on this channel as we get them. So for now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go talk in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice, and then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk about games like Transformers and a whole bunch of others. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.